As a documentary filmmaker, I'm constantly inspired by the incredible work that's out there. So I thought, why not share my top 10 favorite documentaries of all time? These films have moved me, educated me, and even changed the way I look at the world. It's showtime! Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of political campaigns with the War Room. If you've ever been curious about the backstage drama of an election, this is your golden ticket. Directed by D.A. Pennebaker and Chris Hedges, this film pulls back the curtain on Bill Clinton's 1992 presidential campaign. And let me tell you, it's a wild ride. You've got James Carville and George Stephanopoulos, front and center managing the chaos, the strategy, and the media mayhem. These two are like the dynamic duo of American politics. The energy they bring is electric, and you get to see it all, from the tense meetings to the moments of elation. What's superb about this documentary isn't just the inside access, it's the storytelling. It's not peddling an agenda, it's showing you what it's really like to win an election in the modern era. The strategies, the quick decisions, the constant spinning of stories for the media. It's a complex, fast-paced game. Technically speaking, this film is really tight. The filmmakers were granted incredible access, and you get up close and personal with everyone involved. It's like a masterclass in observational cinema. It's not just telling you a story, it's making you feel like you're part of it. So if you're into politics or documentary filmmaking, or just love adrenaline and high-stakes games, The War Room is an eye-opener. It's not just a blast from the past, it's a timeless look at the human elements that drive political campaigns. For filmmakers and political junkies alike, this is a must-see. Hey, if you're enjoying this list and you're curious about more documentary content, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Coming in at number 9 is The Fog of War. This isn't just a war documentary. It's a dissection of human decisions, flawed logic, and the sheer complexities of conflict. It's centered around Robert McNamara, who was U.S. Secretary of Defense during the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Vietnam War. And let me tell you, this guy was super controversial. This film goes beyond the typical war documentary by diving into McNamara's 11 lessons, which are essentially his reflections on his career and the nature of warfare. It's like a masterclass in understanding how complex human actions and decisions can get. It questions everything you thought you knew about right and wrong, about war and peace. But what really captivated me was the pacing and storytelling, and the use of archival footage, personal interviews, and the haunting music score that makes its points. It's got layers, so many layers that you'll find yourself pondering on the moral complexities of leadership and decision making long after the credits roll. And that's not overlook the craft of documentary filmmaking. Here, director Errol Morris employs a unique interview style using an interrotron, which allows McNamara to speak directly to the audience. It creates an intimacy that's often lacking in documentaries, especially ones that tackle heavy subjects like war. So if you're into understanding the depths of human conflicts and the difficult decisions that have shaped history, this one's a must-watch. It's a gripping, challenging film that will leave you with more questions than answers. And that's the beauty of it. To me, this is McNamara's confession. He knew what he was doing was wrong, the Pentagon Papers were leaked, and they showed that he and Nixon knew the war was impossible to win. He's a haunted man. You could see it in his eyes. Next, An Inconvenient Truth. Now this is a documentary that did for climate change what Michael Jordan did for basketball. It put it on the map. Al Gore presents a compelling case on the catastrophic effects of global warming, using slideshows and data that are surprisingly engaging. This isn't just about throwing numbers at you. Gore personalizes the global crisis, even sharing some of his own experiences and setbacks. You feel the urgency, the need for action. It's hard to walk away without wanting to change something, anything in your life in order to help the planet. I highly recommend this for anyone remotely interested in the future of our planet. It's more than a couple of decades old, but it's still painfully relevant today. It's not just the message, it's the delivery. Clear, direct, and even emotional. That makes it very impactful. Listen, even if some of his numbers and facts aren't exactly perfect, and some really are selective, it's still a really good doc. This was the first climate change movie. Number 7, Vietnam War with Ken Burns. Ken Burns' epic series on the Vietnam War. Why should you watch it? First off, the storytelling is unmatched. Burns uses rare footage and first-hand accounts, making history feel alive and immediate. Ken Burns is a master at leveraging archival footage, photos, and interviews to weave a complex narrative. He doesn't shy away from the difficult parts of the story. Clocking in at 18 hours over a 10-episode series, This series is an exhaustive look at one of America's most controversial conflicts. What I love about this documentary series is its honesty. Whether you're an American, a Vietnamese, a veteran, or a protester, all sides of the story are represented. Many have tried to document the Vietnam War, but none have achieved the depth and breadth of Burns' work. Look, if you're into documentaries, you can't miss this series. It's not just a history lesson, it's a masterclass in documentary filmmaking. As a matter of fact, he has made a masterclass documentary filmmaking course on the making of this film. Ken has shaped the way I do docs. Sliding in at number 6 is Michael Moore's Bowling for Columbine. Now I've got to say this documentary is unapologetically bold. Moore takes on America's gun culture and he doesn't pull any punches. It's provocative, it's insightful, and it's got this dark humor that makes you laugh and immediately question why you're laughing. This film pokes holes into the many myths surrounding gun violence in America, making you realize how deeply ingrained these issues are in society. It takes serious guts to tackle a topic this controversial, and Moore does it with his signature flair. The man even goes so far as to confront Kmart executives to stop selling bullets. It's audacious but thought-provoking. But it worked. They actually stopped selling ammo. Moore changes time and merges facts from time to time. He made it look like you could open a bank account and walk out with a gun. In fact, the gun is ordered on that day and it's delivered some weeks later. And so what? What I always found funny was his research into Canadian gun owners. He crosses into Windsor, Ontario from Detroit on a Saturday night at 3 a.m. and he heads to an arcade. There he meets a former drug dealer to get his thoughts on guns in Canada. Really, Mike? Whether you agree with Moore's politics or not, Bowling with Columbine will make you think. It's a kind of documentary that encourages debate and opens up dialogue. And isn't that what a great documentary should do? Coming in as a late but monumental addition to my list is Hearts of Darkness. If you're into the filmmaking process, like really into the bones of it, then this documentary is a must-see. This isn't just a behind-the-scenes experience. It's an all-access pass to one of the most iconic movies ever made, Apocalypse Now. Directed by Eleanor Coppola, George Hickenlooper, and Max Barr, this documentary digs into the sheer chaos and complexity of creating Apocalypse Now. It's like entering a filmmaker's most vivid and stressful dreams, and it's utterly fascinating. Francis Ford Coppola faced a filmmaking journey that resembled an obstacle course more than anything else. Budget woes, harsh weather conditions, and health scares, it's all there. The man even mortgaged his house and vineyard to see the film through. It's a relentless roller coaster that you can't help but be gripped by. I mean, it took 238 days to film. One tropical storm that destroyed most of the sets, heart attack of one of the main stars, and another star who had his ideas of his own. What incredible patience. But this documentary isn't just about the drama and challenge. It's artfully constructed, seamlessly blending interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and scenes from Apocalypse Now. This pulls you into the Coppola's world. The tension is palpable, the storytelling is top-notch. And for all the aspiring filmmakers out there, this is more than a documentary. It's a lesson on dedication, an unyielding commitment to a vision. It shows the lengths one must go to bring a story to life on the big screen. It's an initiation into the real world of filmmaking, and it should be on your must-watch list. Seriously, don't sleep on this one. Coming in at number 4 is Gambling Gods and LSD. Man, just the title alone got me interested. This is a film that's like a patchwork quilt of life's complexities. It's not just a documentary, it's a journey across countries and concepts, examining everything from religion to addiction. And the filmmaking is eclectic and ambitious, stitching together desperate stories into a contemplative piece. Don't let the title mislead you. The film delves into the deeper quests for meaning, making you wonder long after the credits roll. Having an early love for this film, it's been a big influence on my own work. If you're into documentaries that pushes boundary, this is a must-see. Taking the number 3 spot is Blackfish. Now let me tell you, this documentary changed the game for marine parks everywhere, especially SeaWorld in San Diego. The film focuses on Tilikum, an orca held in captivity, exposing the dark side of human interactions with wildlife. The story unfolds like a psychological thriller, highlighting the perils of captivity on these majestic creatures. Not only does it pull on your emotional strings, but it also serves you a hard pill of ethical dilemma. Should these magnificent animals be held captive for our amusement? It's gripping, it's revealing, and it sparked real-world change. The film ignited debates and led to policy changes, proving the power of documentaries to make a significant impact. If you haven't watched it, you need to, right after this video. I could have put the documentary The Cove into here, but I had to choose 10. The Cove is another fantastic film. Number 2, we've got Born into Brothels. This was the film that probably kickstarted my love for documentary filmmaking. It's an eye-opening look at the lives of children born to prostitutes in Kolkata's red light district. This is in India. The sheer resilience and creativity these kids show in the face of such adversity is both heartbreaking and inspiring. It's a kind of film that reminds you of the transformative power of art and compassion. Jane Brisket and Ross Kaufman came up with a real cool concept. Let's get some Polaroid Insta cameras and put them into the hands of children, and let's film them with 2 Sony Z1 camcorders. This is another occurrence of shoot first and ask questions later. Being deeply moved by this documentary, it's one I recommend to everyone, especially those interested in the impact of social issues on children. And we're at my number 1 of all-time favorite documentary films, My Octopus Teacher. If you're into documentaries, and if you've watched this far, you obviously are, you have to watch this masterpiece multiple times, and do it as soon as possible. The story, the storytelling, and the music make this my all-time favorite. I was hooked right from the start, especially since it kicks off with a burnt-out documentary filmmaker, something many of us can relate to. The incredible film tells the tale of Craig Foster, who forms a friendship with an octopus in the South African kelp forest. It's really mind-blowing, really. But what sends this film to the top of my list is the storytelling and relationship building. It's just unreal on how well it's done. Craig Foster's patience and persistence observing the kelp forest in South Africa is outstanding. It took him 9 months to get the high-quality footage. Now, what struck me most was how it defies the norms of traditional wildlife documentaries. It's not just about observing an animal in its natural habitat. It's about connecting with it. The Octopus Teacher teaches Craig lessons about life, survival, and the interconnectedness of all living things. Let's not overlook the backstory of Pippa Elrich, one of the filmmakers. Her journey in creating this film is awe-inspiring and just adds another layer to why I admire this documentary so much. The years, the pain, the tears, the setbacks, unbelievable. She and her team really deserve the Best Documentary Award at the 2021 Academy Awards. If you found this list helpful or interesting, make sure you subscribe for more content like this, and please leave me your comments.